This is the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
I want to remind you about Catholic Legacy, which makes it easy and free to create a will that reflects your faith in just 30 minutes or less. You can make a lasting impact for the church and for future generations when you use Catholic Legacy and include a gift to Relevant Radio. And just remember, the beautiful Basilica of St. Mary Major was a bequest. So you not only ensure peace of mind for yourself, you share the hope of Christ with people you may never meet until you stand before the throne of God. So don't wait until it's too late. Create your Catholic will today at relevantradio.com/will or text will to 914-914 to get started. Piece of cake. A very dear friend of mine is very ill, and she and her husband, they're both very dear to me, and I've been asking to pray for them, and I would again, but she is one of the finest women I know. Kind, faithful, loves the Lord. I've never met anyone who was unimpressed by her, who knew her, and she is going through terrible suffering. And, of course, her husband wonders, why do people who love the Lord so much suffer? It's all supposed to work out more easily. And I believe that when we stand at the throne of God, we will look back at our lives and these moments when we sat by the sickbed of someone we loved and said, Lord, why don't you heal them? Why must they suffer so, Lord? You know, when a mother and father sit by the sickbed of a child and wish it was they in bed instead of the child, why, if God is loving and merciful, does this happen? And this may sound odd, but I suspect that when we stand at the throne of God, we will look back on what we now think are the worst days of our life and realize that they were the best days of our life, because that's when we really loved, that our love was truly sacrificial. And when someone you love is suffering, everything else becomes unimportant. You know, and if you didn't love them, big deal, they're suffering. Who cares? But you love them. And it draws out of your heart the deepest, deepest compassion. And from the perspective of eternity, this life is a blink. And the sufferings, St. Paul says, the sufferings that we now endure are not even worth comparing to the glory that will be revealed in us. He says that in Romans, the 8th chapter. And I really do believe that when you look back on your life and you say, Lord, at the moment you're saying, Lord, why is this happening? Well, you'll look back and say, this was the moment in which I really was the follower of Christ, in which I really stood with him at the foot of the cross. When my brother was dying, his wife died a month before. It was like a Greek tragedy, and then he found out 2 weeks before she died that he had terminal cancer. It was November. It was a cold November day. And I remember him looking at his wife's newly dug grave and realizing that the grave next to her was his, and he would be in it very soon. He couldn't talk. Cancer had eaten out his voice box, and he just was, and he was devout. He was a real believer, a very generous man to the needs of the church and of the poor. Well, he couldn't talk. He mouthed the words, why? And my sister said to him, I had nothing to say. I was just dumbfounded by the whole event. But my sister said, do not forget, John, that at the heart of our faith, there is a cross. When we look back from the throne of God at this life, it is these moments in which we share in the glory of God, the cross.
Like what you just heard? Share it with your family and friends, and thanks for listening.